How do you avoid Gunpla burnout? This is how I do it. Let's get started. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another video from Gunpla University, where we are not the teachers but students just like you. If this is your first time here and you're looking to take your Gunpla model kits or your Gunpla to the next level, or you just love Gundam and other anime related figures and models, get started right now by hitting the subscribe button and don't forget to click the bell icon. So let's jump right in, guys, and get hot on this. So how I go about avoiding burnout. And just to be clear, I wasn't burnt out when I was creating this video. This is also kind of a preventative maintenance type of thing. This is how I keep myself from getting to that point of being burnt out. And the idea came to me to do this video just because, you know, as I scroll the web, I see people sometimes refer to the fact that they've got burnout, and I'm just like, man, that really sucks, because who wants to have burnout on a hobby that you really enjoy doing? I want to have burnout on stuff that I dislike doing, like bills and groceries and chores and work and stuff. So yeah, this is just preventative maintenance for me. From time to time, I will pick something else to work on, just so that I don't become burnt out on my main focus, which is Gundams and Gunpla. So that's what this kit is here. That's what we're working on today. So as you can see here, I'm working on a frame arm girl, which I don't really tend to do too many of. I normally leave these type of kits to my other half. So if you want to check out some of those videos, I will leave those up here in the corner for you guys to check out. But yeah, I decided to go ahead and crack open to this frame arm girl that I've had for a while now. Picked this up on our very first trip to USA Gundam. And this is the Innocentia kit here. And I also have another kit that I'm working on the back end of this. I'll show you guys a little bit later. But let's go ahead and take a look at the packaging here. All right, so here we go. Here is our Innocentia frame arms girl box. Pretty cute picture here on the front. She's got a purple type of scheme going on here. So one thing you have to get used to with these frame arm girls, they are a little, what would you call it, like scantily clad. You know, they don't have too many clothes on. So if you got kids, you know, you might want to, you know, just have a talk with them or something, because these frame arm girls tend to not have too many clothes on. So here we are on the side of the box. And the first thing we see here is these nice two little pictures of the front and back pose of her. So directly next to that, we're getting some different options for her face, and it's also showing us some different hair options, and below it's showing us the different options and limbs. Directly beyond that, it's showing us the different options that we can choose for her head accessories, between different types of ears, some plates, lots of different things, and also in different colors as well. Lastly, here is just showing us some clothing options. If you notice here, the bust in the small picture and the large picture are different. Around to the other side, it shows us some of the water slide eyes that it also comes in the packaging, so we can change some of these faces here. So if you decided to paint one of these, they give you these faces and these eyes here so that you can then go back and replace the expressions. And that's really what these Kutabukiya frame arm girls are really about, and what they're really known for is a very wide amount of customization right out of the box. All right, so let's go ahead and break into this box, and we'll run through real quickly what comes with the kit. So first off, you see we've got our manual here, and we've also got our extra water slides. And then we've got this large assortment of runners. All right, so here we go, guys. Here are the runners. As you can see, I'm trying to get these all laid out, because, you know, I like to have my runners laid out in order by letter, just so I can make it much easier for me to go through and find them. So one thing that you're going to find with these frame arm girl kits is that some of the runners that are going to be in there are going to be in duplicates, and they're going to be molded in different colors. The reason why that is because these kits are known to be highly customizable. You can choose between whether to have armor pieces on or just have bare skin. You can choose between bust size. You can choose between different hairstyles. So you're going to see as we go through here that there are two runners. What I've done is I've stacked the two runners on top of each other. And essentially what we have there is the two different color options for that part. So anytime that you get to a spot in the book where it calls for that part, you'll be able to look and decide which color of that part you want to use. So that's what I've done here. I've got everything laid out, and as you can see here, I've got some of these that are double stacked, like this one, where it is two different colors here. It's molded in purple and a gray. So I guess when we get to that part, we'll be able to pick a color. And then over here to the right, we have the same thing happening here, where we have parts molded in white and parts molded in this dark purple. So more options there. And last but not least, down here we have some parts that are molded in this flesh color, and then some molded in this purple, which is the armor. So plenty to choose from, lots of customization. So also I wanted to show you guys some of these other little pieces real quick. It does come with these other little bags. You get a lot of these different hand options, and the same thing is with the different colored pieces for the armor. You get that same thing going on here with the hands. So you can see I've got two different types of hands here. I've got one with the bare hands and then another one here with the gloves on. So you get a couple of different options with faces as well. And I know it's kind of hard to see here, but these faces are slightly different from each other. And some other kits, they can be way different as far as like tongue sticking out or winking eyes and all different sorts of things. Half a smile, maybe a full smile. But you do get the option to change the faces as well. So here's our booklet. As we open it up, you can see here to the left, again, it's showing us some of the different options. And aesthetically on the inside, their books look somewhat familiar of a aesthetic as the Bandai books. I will say they are a little bit harder to follow, in my opinion, than say a normal Bandai booklet, especially with the whole customization thing. Sometimes it's not very clear where a customization can occur, which is why I really suggest that if you're building one of these, you stack your two customizable parts on top of each other. So when you get to that part, you already know that you can customize that and change the color if you want to. So also I decided to go ahead and use my USA Gundam store nippers for the first time. So this is the first kit that they're getting used on. And if you want to see my initial thoughts on these USA Gundam store nippers, be sure to check out my video right here that I'll post a little link to off to the right. And you can see these nippers face off against some of my other nippers that I have in a initial showdown, I guess you could call it. So as far as build process goes, the build's not bad. It's a pretty fun build. The only thing that kind of bothers me is two things. The first thing being, like I said earlier, the book doesn't really do a good job of telling you in which locations you can actually have a choice in what parts you want to use. So I do wish that they did a little bit better with that in the booklet so you would know, but I do like the fact that after having stacked these interchangeable parts, it's much easier to know where I can go through and change the parts to my liking. So from now on, anytime I build one of these Kotobukiya kits, I will definitely do that in the future until the manuals are a little bit easier to read. And then the second thing that I don't really like about these kits is the small parts. And you know, I don't think that I have like huge hands, but my hands aren't small either. And some of these parts on these kits are super teeny. So for me, it's a little hard on some of these spots to actually be able to snap some of this stuff together. And I even have to like ask for help sometimes just to get some of these things to snap. So that's a really big aggravation for me. But on the other side of that same sword, those small pieces are so aggravating that it actually helps to manage my burnout. And what do I mean by that? I get so aggravated at some points of these small little pieces that are in this kit that I can't wait to get back to my next Gundam. And don't get me wrong, by any means, you know, I absolutely love the Kotobukiya kits, the frame arm girls, the Megumi devices. They all look absolutely amazing. But I gotta say, you know, the small parts are a problem for me. So, you know, whatever works, right? And so this is all just to say, you know, by working on something else for a little while, it allows me to essentially miss working on my Gundams. And by doing it that way, whether it be a Megumi device, whether it be a frame arm girl or something else, even sometimes I'll do like a little SD kit. That's how I manage my burnout. Because although I am really proud of these kits after they're completed, there is a point where I'm working on these where I'm just like, man, I cannot wait to get back to building some Gundams. All right, and here is pretty much the final product. As you can see, I opted to pretty much go with pretty much the bare stuff. So the least amount of armor pieces as possible. But I did decide to put these little side pieces in here in case I like want to plug some things into her. And there's also some here on her back and on her butt. And I also chose to go with the biggest bust size that she had, as well as the long hair and the ears. And while it is possible, it is very hard to get these things to stand up on their feet by themselves. I would say it's almost impossible, but you can get little stands for them. I actually happened to pick up, I think, about 4 or 5 from USA Gundam store. So I went ahead and popped together one of these little stands for her. And if I recall, this was probably only like $5 maybe. I can't really remember, but I know it wasn't that expensive. And very easy to put together. As you can see, there's not really much on here for you to do. So at this point, the kit is pretty much done. I mean, we could stop here and the kit looks good. I could just throw it up on the wall along with the rest of them and be perfectly happy. But somewhere in the process of working on this kit and doing this little project, this kind of also turned into a let's see how much of my backlog we can also clean up. So I also had this kit that I had picked up that had been sitting in the corner just as long as this frame arm girl, and this is the Gigantic Arms Blitz Gunner. And what this is actually a little add-on for the frame arm girl. So I said, you know what, why don't I go ahead and pop this thing together too, have something cool for her to sit on, and we'll put the whole thing up in the corner along with the other frame arm girls, and she'll look good and I'll have one less item in my backlog. So as you can see here on the front of the box, the girl actually rides inside of it almost like a motorcycle. And the cool thing about these, if we flip to the bottom here, you can see that there's actually multiple different ways of which the frame arm girls can actually use this thing. And you can get this other kit and combine it to make this giant kit out of it. So here on the back, you can see the combination of the 2 kits here in order to make this one gigantic kit, which I don't have the other one, unfortunately. Maybe we'll get that somewhere down the line. But we've only got this one on the left, so that's what we're going to be snapping together. So in the box, you get your manual, of course. We also get some literature here that shows us how to snap this into the other kit if we were to have it. And you can see here, if we add these 2 together, we get that one giant one. And here's all our runners. Now I will say that these runners ended up being way more plain than I thought they would be. So this is probably something that you would definitely want to paint. I thought that it was going to at least come in that tan color on the outside, that like tan sand color. But as you can see, everything in here is shades of gray. So this is definitely something you probably want to paint. So nothing really special to see here as far as the build process of this little guy. The one cool thing that this did come with though is these 2 different colored pieces for like your screens. So there's little mini screens that are like pieces of glass, and the kit actually gives you these screens in 2 different colors, in blue and in clear. So I thought that was pretty cool. But other than that, this was actually pretty straightforward. I will say though that the parts in here were bigger than that you would normally see in the frame arm girls, so that was a little better for me. And so here's the final product, guys. I mean, and I think she's looking pretty good. I really like how this little what do you call this Blitz Gunner came out. I think it looks really cool on her. I do wish that the armor parts on here were colored at least in that sand color. Here it looks a little bit lighter, but in person it really does look like a gray kind of tone. So I wish that this would have at least been that sand color, just to give me, you know, a little something to look at. But you know, I think it's a really cool little kit for her, and maybe at some point or another I'll get the other half and be able to make that giant mecha suit, which will look pretty cool. And all in all, I think this was a good little kit to kind of play with for a little bit, just to kind of get away from Gunpla for a short little moment. And so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave us a like and a comment down below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.